How to use neuro-linguistic programming to seduce somebody? Is it even possible? Should you really attempt to do this? And if so, what are the main best techniques you might ever use to accomplish such a result? This is going to be a more casual conversation between us because I know some people are new on this channel and haven't been exposed yet to all the content I have produced on this topic. So to give you a brief overview, if you are new here, we can use NLP in the context of dating and seducing somebody in three ways, I would say. The first one is obviously the one everyone is thinking about when they want to use NLP in such a context: language, patterns, persuasion, influencing her unconscious mind to make her want to go into a bedroom with you. And you should only do this responsibly, of course. Whenever this comes into the conversation, people may have some over-embellished scenarios in their mind of what is possible to accomplish in terms of hypnotizing somebody into sleeping with you. There is a lot of myth about this, and there is some truth to it. What is definitely true is that you can indeed use your language to tantalize somebody's thoughts and make them imagine vividly sexual, sensual things with you or with anybody else. That is possible, that can be done, and you can influence the state of somebody through the way you speak. Now, does that mean she will follow you into a bedroom? Absolutely not. There are many other factors involved in this. First of all, is there at least basic chemistry between the two of you? Yes or no? And if there is, then I would argue that yes, those things, those language patterns are definitely an amplification. It will get you to escalate the conversation more smoothly, which is why I tend to say all those NLP language patterns in the context of seduction are worthy into the later phases of the seduction process, seldom in the beginning. More when you already have some basic nice conversation and you want to escalate things toward seeing her again or meeting in a more private place. This is definitely when you can use those techniques. In the same realm of influencing somebody else, we have anchoring, the technology of anchoring. When you have noticed she was in a nice, positive, maybe sensual state, and you want to use that state again when you will communicate with her again, that is definitely doable. For example, by remembering the kind of words she is saying when she describes how she feels when she is aroused or excited or horny somehow. If you can remember the words she said at that moment and use them again in the conversation through texting, for example, then definitely that may create or trigger that state again when she thinks about you. And the more she's associating positive feelings to the souvenir of conversations with you, the more inclined she will be to meet you again and will want even her on her side to escalate things with you in turn. If you want a complete process, I have a course down below called the Speed Connection Method, which is really going from the beginning of how to meet that person and escalate toward the bedroom. How can you lead the conversation through all of those phases? It is covered in the course down below in depth. Then the second big component, which is definitely more relevant, is all the concept of the inner game. How do you develop and amplify your own self-confidence, self-esteem, grow the sense of value you have in her eyes? That is really the foundation, and what I think is more relevant and what I have used the most way before studying how hypnotic language works. I really developed that in myself, and that brought me many more results than the specific language patterns I used to trick her mind. This is just a technical twist. What is the foundation? It is what is within you. How do you see yourself through her eyes? If you just see her and you imagine, you presuppose that when she's looking at you, she's just seeing some pathetic weirdo, guess what? That is most likely not her judgment, but the judgment you have of yourself. In which case, maybe you can change that from the inside with all of the inner game concepts into NLP. And once you come from a grounded foundation of a confident person, then anything you say, even really random topics, will make her want to know more about you because it is coming from an individual who has already perceived his own self-worth. From there, everyone wants to gravitate around you and discover more about you. And from the NLP techniques designed for that effect, or that can be used more easily to that extent, I would say everything about reshaping the mental image you have of yourself is your best ally. Into NLP, we have techniques such as submodalities, where, for example, you picture yourself and you imagine yourself being taller than you really are, and you imagine yourself made of diamonds, because diamonds are really hard to destroy, and you just create that visual representation of somebody truly unshakable, somebody unstoppable. The more you grow the perception of yourself as somebody truly unstoppable, the more people will be drawn to you naturally. Back in the day, I had also used many subliminal videos. Funny enough, I found the one I had used the most 10 years ago. It is still on YouTube. It is called subliminal isochronic tones or something like this. And I was watching that video and conditioning myself like every morning when I was in university, and that definitely improved my sense of self-confidence and gave me the representations of how confident I wanted to become. And then the last aspect, which is quite often overlooked, I would say, and dismissed because it has threat to social skills in general, not just with this one girl you like, but everyone around. This is usually the most dismissed aspect because it requires to be more of an extrovert. And let's be honest, most guys who study seduction online or how to seduce, most of them are really shy introverts. They have a lot of trouble communicating, stepping out of their comfort zone. So obviously this aspect of being more social and reading social situations may be trickier for them, and they may just ignore it, thinking it is just irrelevant, not important. Whereas that may still be quite relevant, especially into your career when you have to do some networking or negotiation at work. Definitely the capacity to read a room, reading who is the most important person in the room and how to play that person from a social psychology standpoint, that will be an immense improvement into your life as soon as you master this. And to that extent, I would say the one skill that helps you the most from NLP is everything about calibration skills. You enter a place, you enter a room, can you read not everything but the basic body language of the people around you, and catching first, okay, who is the most important person into that room? Based on how they move, based on how other people respond to them, who is the most important person, and can you build rapport first with that one person, or at least to somebody close to them? Because once you can get the validation of somebody who is recognized as being important in the room, then anyone else in that environment will be way easier to approach than if you just have the image of the sole lone guy who knows nobody. That was a big part of my training when I wanted to develop my social skills and seduction skills. I really challenged myself to always befriend the most authoritative person into any kind of social setup. Instead of seeing those guys or those women as enemies, I challenged myself to make friends with them. Doesn't mean I have to be their best friend, at least I just have some basic rapport with them. Once I could get to this level, I started having those same people who were influential introducing me to other girls in the party, other girls in the environment. Everything was easier because I had access to the people who were in a position of authority into the group. For example, even if I know most people watching this will hate that advice, but when you enter a place and there is a tough lady boss feminist in the room, this is the first person you need to make friends with, especially if you want to date some of her friends. Definitely you'd better make friends with that feminist firsthand. And I made that a rule for myself, and that worked great for me. Instead of seeing them as enemies, I saw them as my allies. I thought about how many more opportunities can I get through that person. From there, everything became easier. And therefore, if you want a complete process to go from meeting a girl you like to creating more connection with her, escalating smoothly, and then leading her into a more sensual state, you have a complete method down below called the speed connection method. It is only based on what I have seen working, so it is really far from pure theory. It is only based on the language patterns I have used myself that worked the best for me, and I show you how to adapt to different profiles, because obviously not every woman responds to the same kind of patterns and behaviors from your side. So how to adapt to all of them and how to lead them skillfully, and how to lead also into physical touching, which is the ultimate gatekeeper between you and sex. It is obviously physical proximity. How to lead smoothly into this without forcing in any way, just being subtle and soft and charming, and going there easily with her full agreement. You have this down below. Thanks a lot for watching. Ask any questions in the comments if you have some. I'm pleased to see you here, and see you soon in the next video.